20 things only Americans do and think it is normal. That is the video we're reacting to today. What's up guys, I'm Potatoful. I am from Germany and I am not an American, but obviously America is in the news all around the world, and I'm gonna react to this video and give you my opinion if maybe it is not that unnormal, or maybe it is super awkward, and I don't know. I'm just gonna tell you what I think about it. Let's get right into it. And because this is a Watch Mojo video and they're usually paced like a snail, we're gonna put this on 125 speed. Here we go. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Always good when a video starts with a scene from that. I love that show.
That's dude. It's the only call. You know what I mean?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 things only Americans do.
Get a ton of shit.
For this list, we're looking at common beliefs and practices
Peanut
in the
butter,
United States.
yeah, we have
they don't
it,
need
but
to
not
be
that
exclusively
common.
American, just something that Americans are known for.
Huge
If
gallons
there's something
of milk.
uniquely American that didn't make our list, unite in the comments to state your picks. Number 20, refer to the USA as America.
Yeah, that's true.
Outside of the United States of America, referring to the country as America is much less commonplace. After all, there are two entire continents called America, comprising like 35 distinct nations. Referring to only one country on one of those continents as America too is really confusing for anyone who doesn't live there.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
Calling it the US, USA, the United States, or just the States is much more common in the rest of the world. Even so, everyone still calls its residents Americans, which isn't confusing
That's
at all.
true, yeah.
You can't say it, but you know it's true.
Number 19.
So this is definitely a big thing, and funnily I found out there are two different ways of looking at the continents. Some countries, like we learned, there are two Americas, right? North America, South America, two continents. I found out though that other countries learn it as one continent, just the Americas. And I think some countries in Central or South America do that. However, for us it was two continents. I don't know if Canadians do it, I don't know if Mexicans do it, you know, they're just as much Americans as US Americans. But most of the times people know what they're talking about, but this is absolutely real. Americans just like, where are you from? America. Okay.
Throw gender reveal parties. Cultures the world over have traditions
Gender
to prepare
reveal
expecting
parties.
parents and celebrate the expected birth of a child.
Thank you so much for throwing me this baby shower, girls. I feel so welcome to the neighborhood.
Of course!
However, Americans have really taken the concept and run with it. An entire industry has been built around baby showers, as well as their modern relatives' gender
that
reveal
seems
parties.
so American.
Emerging in the 2000s, the latter have become infamous for sometimes absurd levels of showmanship. Some over-the-top reveals have been responsible for injuries and even disasters. They remain somewhat controversial, with many people, including Americans, not really getting why they're often made into such big deals.
I don't know why, but I'm like gonna cry.
Oh my gosh, why are you gonna cry?
Because I'm just really happy for you.
You look like it.
You look like you're happy.
Number 18.
Alright,
Experience
yeah,
huge bathroom
gender
stall
reveal.
gaps.
Right this way, sir.
I've never been to a gender reveal party, but man, the bathroom stall gaps, I will never get used to that.
God.
Every country's restrooms have their own quirks, like different sinks and toilet bowls. The US is known for having a high volume of water in their bowls and large gaps in their bathroom stalls, both under the door and
I didn't know about the high volume of water in the bowls, but the bathroom stalls, they're so uncomfortable. Man.
between the door and the walls. Visitors can be taken aback at the lack of privacy.
Yes.
Some hold that they're designed for easy cleaning or construction. Others that it allows one to check which stalls are occupied, although occupancy indicators on the locks can do that too.
Maybe so you can see if there's someone in there.
Yeah.
Isn't that why we have locks on the doors?
Well,
Yeah, and usually there's like the little green or red indicator.
as a backup system, in case a lock is broken, you can see if it's taken.
Oh,
A
that's
backup
why.
system?
It might also make it more difficult to get up to no good.
By the way, I think I read somewhere that George Costanza in Seinfeld, that guy, was supposed to be like 30 or 35 or something. That is crazy. Does this look like a 35-year-old?
Good in there. Whatever the case, public bathrooms in the US are built for speed.
We all
not
been
comfort.
there.
Would you just sit down and go to the bathroom already?
Number 17, have pharmacies that sell groceries. In most of the world,
What?
pharmacies sell exactly what their name implies, pharmaceuticals. While you will see tangentially related items like grooming products or hygienic things like toothbrushes, pharmacies don't usually carry food or toys. But in the US, that's much more common. The country is all about the all-in-one experience. Not
Yeah.
only will dedicated grocery stores have pharmacies built in, but pharmacies will also carry groceries. Granted, the selection isn't always great, but
So I have to admit, this is a very interesting point to me. I've been to a CVS in the US. I wasn't really sure what I'm looking at there because, first of all, they're huge. The pharmacies in Europe, in the cities, are usually way smaller because we live more in cities and there's just less space for them. So these sole-standing CVS places, and what's the other one? I can't think of it right now. But they're so big, and it just makes sense that they can just carry a little more. You know, if you stop there for medication, might as well just grab some essentials, some milk or whatever. But I was surprised by that too.
But if you're desperate for milk and the grocery store is closed, or you
It's
just don't feel like
much
crossing the
of a
street to get
thing.
there, you can get some. Number 16, vote before they can drink. Worldwide, the age at which a person can legally drink alcohol is most commonly 18.
Yeah.
The age usually considered to be adulthood, though it is even earlier in some countries.
Yeah, in Germany it's 16 for beer and then 18 for hard alcohol. And I think there's even a rule, don't quote me on that, that you can drink at the age of 14 or something like that with your parent present, something like that. And that being said, for my demographic, we started at 13. Like 13 years old, I think I started drinking beer. And then 14 was the first time we went to like a club, like a nightclub bar. And back in the day, they didn't really check your IDs on the door. And we went there at like 9 or 10 p.m. and then had to leave by midnight. From midnight on, they did a check and only people over 16 or 18 were allowed to stay past midnight. So yes, drinking is way earlier. And then you can vote at 18 in Germany.
The voting age on a global scale is also generally 18, for similar reasons.
Is it 20
Although,
years in the
of course,
US?
there are exceptions.
The Voting Rights Act of 1970 lowered the voting age to 18
Oh,
for
yeah,
national
yeah.
elections, and the 26th
That's what I
Amendment
thought.
made the change to 18 permanent for all elections.
And 18 is where it has stayed for the past 50 years.
And even weirder is that you can drive at 16. Dude, you can drive at 16, but then at 18 you can vote, and then you drink at 21. So driving to drinking is like a full five-year thing. Yeah, for us the other way. Look, we started drinking at 13, 14, then we drive at 18, and so on. It's crazy.
However, the United States requires young adults to wait 3 years after being able to vote before legally being allowed to drink at 21.
Yeah.
This was enacted during the 1980s to prevent alcohol-related driving accidents.
This law has been an abysmal failure. It hasn't reduced or eliminated drinking. It has simply driven it underground, behind closed doors.
Yeah, it's true. Like, just assume everybody drinks before it.
Manageable of settings.
While it helped in the short term, ultimately it hasn't really stopped teenagers from drinking.
Yeah.
The result is that many people, both inside and outside the US, question the logic
And
of why
fake
an
IDs and
18-year-old
stuff.
American can decide who forms the government but not get buzzed.
Yeah.
The reality is everyone drinks before they turn 21. That's why when you go out for your first legal drink, you have to react with that faux surprise like you've never heard of alcohol before. Ooh, what is this alcohol taste like? Oh, it's unusual. Oh, this is true.
Number 15, get free refills. One of the biggest differences
Best
between
thing
American
about the
restaurants and the
US,
rest of
the
the world
best
are their
thing.
drink services. Most American and many Canadian restaurants and other establishments will offer at least one free refill of a non-alcoholic drink.
Refill. Where is it going?
The idea is that because of the low cost of drinks, particularly fountain soft drinks, offering a refill won't hurt the establishment's bottom line.
Okay.
Particularly if drinks are not the primary source of income.
That's interesting. Not the primary source of income and low cost of fountain drinks. In Germany, I think it's the other way around. They always say the restaurants don't make money with their meals. They make the profit with the drinks. Because here, drinks are very expensive. It's not uncommon to pay for a decent-sized Coke, like 5-6 euros nowadays in a city. And then each glass, there's no refill. It just costs another 6 euros if you want another one. And the first time in the US I got a refill, I was so confused because the waitress came back, gave me another Diet Coke or something. I'm like, I didn't order that. And she's like, oh no, I saw yours was running low, so here's another one. And I'm like, thank you? And then my wife was like, no, it's free. It's a free refill. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the best thing. Because I hate paying so much for drinks. If you want, sometimes it's hot and you just want to be refreshed and you need to be hydrated. And then you buy 3 Cokes and here that can be 16 euros, like $20. In the US, free refill. And free water, dude. I love the drink culture. Not the alcohol, you know what I'm talking about. Guys, quick interruption here. If you are fascinated by the United States and all these American topics like I am, then maybe consider subscribing to my channel. I am a small channel. I'm trying to grow and I'm trying to learn about the United States and I find it very interesting. And if you do too, then please click that button. But now back to the video.
The idea has been slow to catch on in the rest of the world, and it's nowhere near as consistently offered.
Nope.
Some countries have raised concern that a practice like this can lead to an increase in obesity. Number 14, tip
Probably.
service personnel.
All right, everybody.
I hate the tips, man. Where you save on the drink money,
I don't tip.
you have to...
No, I don't believe in it.
Paid
While the
tips.
concept of tipping waitstaff or other people in the service industry is known worldwide, few countries have embraced the concept to the degree the U.S. has.
Labor movements declare the practice undemocratic, and anti-tipping legislation was enacted across several states. But restaurants and rail operators like the Pullman Company embraced tipping because it allowed them, among other things, to hire recently freed slaves without having to pay them.
Many workers, particularly in the restaurant industry, rely on gratuities to get by, in part because laws allow managers to pay sub-minimum wages to tipped workers. However, in various other countries, tipping is seen as insulting. They're just doing their jobs after all.
Also, it's not the job of the customer to pay your salary. Your salary is paid by your employer. And this is boiling my blood, this topic.
Each year, Americans spend $40 billion on tips. That's more than we spend on foreign aid and more than we spend on gambling. And like gambling, it's not entirely clear that tipping makes any sense in the first place.
While some countries' workers certainly appreciate it, it isn't expected like it is in the U.S. Mostly because employees are paid a high enough baseline salary that they don't need tips to survive.
Restaurant owners still pay their servers less than minimum wage, turning what used to be a bribe into an obligation that makes the end of every meal suck.
Number 13, obsess over the military.
And I think I speak for the rest of the WWE. I certainly speak for myself. I would like to say thank you to all our men and women who choose to don the uniform of the United States military.
The American military is probably the best in the world, as it should be, since it's also one of the best funded militaries in the world. In fact, the U.S. spends several times more on their military than their nearest competitor, China. What's more, there are more than a few American citizens who have a higher than average fascination with their own military and its culture.
I thank you as your commander-in-chief because you inspire me. Your willingness to serve, to step forward at a time of war and say, send me, is the reason the United States stays strong and free.
While other countries certainly appreciate their troops, you don't, see as many people wearing camouflage as a legitimate fashion statement.
Yeah,
likewise,
true.
you don't see movies made elsewhere that glorify the military to the degree that the U.S. does.
Do me a favor. Tell my children I love them very much.
Great movie.
All right, you alien assholes. In the words of my generation, up
Part of
Amazing, amazing movie. I love it. Yeah, the military thing, we all know Americans very much obsess about it. It's also very apparent on my channel. I did these reacting to military videos lately, and a lot of you guys watched that and were very into it. And I was a bit surprised by that, but it's interesting to see. And yeah, I guess there's nothing wrong with paying respect to the troops and the people that basically are there to protect you if they have to.
Of the American enthusiasm is certainly rooted in patriotism. Still, it may also be a reaction to an increasingly anti-military sentiment that has popped up over the last several decades.
No war, okay? No war, okay? Oh, well, here you go, boys. These will help you protest. It's good to see that you care about peace, boys, okay?
Number 12, use red plastic cups. If you've ever seen an American movie where a college party happens, chances are you've seen
Every
characters
list
drinking from red
brings
cups.
up these cups, man.
These red plastic or solo cups are everywhere in the US. The cheap drinking containers are a favorite at parties. While they're also handy for crafts or gardening, they're most famous for their intended purpose.
Really?
However,
Yeah, they're used for gardening
the rest of the
a
world
lot.
either doesn't have the United States party culture's emphasis on kegs or lacks the same distinctive cups, originally manufactured by the Solo Cup Company.
That's true, man. The emphasis on kegs is not as big here. Is it in the US? I'm wondering now. I don't really know. But here it's just very normal to buy cases of beer with like 24 beer bottles in there, or just 6-packs of cans or 6-packs of beers. But yeah, kegs are kind of like a more rare occurrence, or maybe more used in like restaurants and bars only.
At most, you might see them at a novelty American themed party. Number 11, wear shoes inside. Taking off
Why?
your shoes before you enter a home,
Why?
or at least in the entryway,
It's
is
good
pretty
manners.
common etiquette in many countries.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Why'd you take your shoes off? So I don't break your nose.
And while many Americans do prefer to keep footwear off their floors, it isn't a hard and fast rule like it is in other places. Often it will depend on whether the
What
person
movie
has
is
carpeted
that?
floors or hardwood floors, with the latter considered easier to clean. Since it's not considered the norm though, asking guests to take off their shoes indoors can come across as rude or fussy, and so is often avoided.
Okay.
Number 10, eat peanut butter as their go-to spread. Peanuts are grown and eaten
Even worse is shoes on the couch or even the bed. So much in the movies, I don't know why.
in many parts of the world. But it's the United States and Canada that do most of the peanut butter eating.
Peanut butter man now, Asa?
Yes, I believe I am.
I thoroughly enjoyed this peanut butter.
A lot of countries see it as a niche or even unpleasant taste. Others have a spread that is more culturally ingrained, like Nutella.
Yeah,
the
Nutella's
USA
way
cannot
bigger
get
here.
enough of peanut butter, though, consuming over 1 billion pounds of it annually. January 24th is even National Peanut Butter Day. It's a cheap source of
Didn't
protein
know
that
that.
most American children grow up eating.
Cheap source of protein. We have peanut butter. It's very, very much smaller than here. I also kind of enjoy peanut butter. And then also sometimes peanut butter jelly, you know, that is also something I think I had for the first time with my wife, and this is very interesting, but it's so big in the US, it's funny.
Oh, it's no wonder that it's a comfort food for many of them. Number
Comfort
9,
food
work
taste.
too much. Americans are workaholics, at least compared to basically every other
I mean,
country in the
Japan,
world. The majority of
Germany,
Americans
I don't know.
work more than 40 hours a week.
Why do we do this to ourselves? Well, the conventional answer is that this attitude towards work makes the American economy the envy of the world. America is a hectic, turbocharged system that builds, destroys, rebuilds, all at warp speed.
They also tend to lack many of the things the rest of the world takes for granted, like paid holidays, as well as sick and parental leave. Research has shown that happier, less stressed workers do better at their jobs. Iceland even recently tried a 4-day work week that proved wildly successful.
There's lots of other benefits to 4-day working.
Yeah.
It's not just the environment, you know, it's not just the mental health and economy, you know, good for the
I think
economy.
work-life
Also
balance
environmental
became a
benefits
much
too. You know,
bigger
evidence looks
topic
like
over the
when
last
commuting
decade or
less as a result of a
so.
4-day week, that brings
And I do
down
believe
emissions.
this work
Also,
culture is
energy
bad.
consumption goes down. So this is a policy that's win-win for the environment, for workers, for employers. What's not to like about it?
Several European countries take long breaks for lunch. While the American drive is admirable, grind culture becomes problematic when it costs workers their mental health and well-being. Number 8.
Yeah, but do the employers care? No, they just want the employees to work. And I worked in a similar field, and I think if you're in cities like Frankfurt that are very career-driven, and it's very similar that people work way more than the 40 hours, it's almost considered rude, or you stand out if you like leave once your 9-hour workday is over or something like that. I do think we have more vacation and stuff, like 30 days is very common. I don't know if that is in the US, or if you're sick, you just call in sick, you get the doctor's certificate, and that's just additionally, and you get paid and everything. I think that might not be the case in the US like that.
Make small talk with strangers. Americans are known for their friendliness towards strangers, especially
true.
outside of big cities. It's not uncommon for Americans to smile at each other in passing, but their comfort with
How
new people
dare
also
they
extends
smile
to
at
small
each
talk,
other?
saying hello or even striking up a conversation out of the blue.
If you are seated in an emergency exit row, yeah, and feel you would be unable or unwilling to perform the duties listed on the safety card, please ask.
I just recently rewatched Fight
In
Club.
many
So
countries,
good.
speaking to strangers unprompted can be seen as intrusive or even risky. Many Americans are masters of the art, though, often happy to chat with people they've never met about the weather, sports, or whatever
I
else
kind of
comes up
like
in
it. It
conversation.
gives a more pleasant day-to-day life.
Number 7, casually own guns. In many countries, gun laws are strict and gun ownership is relatively rare. In the US, gun ownership is protected by the Second Amendment, and gun ownership is the highest in the world. Despite making up 4% of the global population, Americans own 46% of civilian-held firearms.
Oh, shit.
There's a distinct gun culture, where gun ownership is celebrated or at least seen as important for personal safety. Most states even allow you to open carry.
But it's a lucky thing I had my pieces.
Your pieces?
My gun.
Oh.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang! Bang!
Of course, the issue is extremely divisive due to the country's high rate of gun deaths. Either way, the idea of having so many guns around is a novel one for many visitors.
Guns. Lots of guns.
Number 6, put sales tax on everything.
Sales tax is paid when you buy something, and the business you purchased your goods from sends that money to the government.
Cool, cool. We all do sales tax. Just please include it in the price. This is another topic that gets my blood boiling a little bit. It's just, you know, if in every other country you go there and something says it's $2.99, you go to the checkout, it's going to be $2.99 and not $2.99 plus taxes. It's a very awkward thing that the US does, and I think it's just a deceiving corporate strategy. And you could say, oh, the US is so big and they have different taxes in every state. Dude, have you seen how many people work in these companies, how big they are? It would be no big deal for them to just include the freaking taxes into the price. You know what I'm talking about?
Tax: general sales tax and excise taxes. General sales tax is a tax levied on most goods you buy. Excise taxes are taxes levied only on certain items.
Most countries enact a value-added tax, or VAT, on goods or services purchased within their borders. These taxes are collected from every person in the supply chain, from the distributors to the consumers. The United States is one of the few to use sales tax, which not only vary wildly from state to state, but are only enacted after a purchase has been made.
The state treasury depends on sales taxes to pay for road repairs, education, and medical care for children, seniors, and the poor.
They're also not listed in the initial price, which can leave foreign visitors and many Americans scratching their head as to why they're being charged more than the price on the product. Better or worse? You decide. It's certainly more confusing.
What's the advice then? If you're going to buy a big ticket item, where's the cheapest sales tax?
Well, you can go online and look at all the sales tax rates for different cities, and if you look at one dealership or one, Best Buy or something like that, you can find the different zip codes and look at the sales tax rates and just see how much that'll little take off. And then
that seems like fun. Let's all do that.
Number 5, recite a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
In many parts of the United States, school children, and adults in some settings, are expected to recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Back then, in 1892, when it was written by Francis Bellamy, Bellamy was a Baptist minister, and in conjunction with a magazine called The Youth's Companion, he wrote this, at that time, 23-word Pledge of Allegiance.
This is an expression that they will be loyal to the USA, and is usually performed daily while looking at the nation's flag, which you will find hanging everywhere, by the way. This isn't something other countries do.
The original 23-word Pledge of Allegiance, written in 1892, was, I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, didn't know that.
They might salute or respect their flag and country, but to make school children recite an oath to the country? The pledge has been the subject of plenty of controversy within the US too, particularly since it mentions God. While some schools no longer require it, it remains a widespread practice.
Bottom line is, we all look different, sound different, but we are all on the same team.
Number 4, watch ads for prescription drugs. Aside from New Zealand, the United States is the only country in the world that advertises prescription drugs directly to consumers. Every day, Americans are bombarded with ads for prescription medications, featuring generic, pleasing imagery and a list of side effects longer than a flagpole.
Side effects may include upper respiratory infection, stuffy or runny nose, and sore throat and headache.
Many people, Americans included, are baffled by the practice, as doctors and not patients are meant to decide what drugs to prescribe. Proponents claim that advertising increases competition and lowers drug costs. Meanwhile, prescription drugs are typically far more expensive in the United States, as the US doesn't regulate or negotiate drug prices.
Yeah, I noticed that. I needed some medication one time in the US, and it was so expensive. It was like, for just a little bottle of antibiotics, I think it was like $60 or something. That's crazy. That also, I noticed that in TV, the prescription drugs, it doesn't make sense to me, because like she said, the doctor has to prescribe it and choose what you need, right? So what is very uncommon, not a thing here.
Number 3, put months before days. Most of humanity marks calendar dates as being day first, then month, then year.
It's the date. Assuming the first two numbers are some big old space date, then you've got year, month, day. It's the other way around like it is in America.
Or else the opposite, as year, month, then day. The reasoning is that you can go from the shortest value to the longest, or vice versa. Yet the United States and parts of Canada eschew both these formats by putting the month first, then day, then year. The US has been using this format basically since its founding, although it has used the day first format interchangeably too. The exact reason why is debatable, but...
Do you know all these memes on the internet right now? US just has to do something different for everything. Like, metric system? Nah, we're doing imperial. Celsius, temperature? No, we do Fahrenheit. Date? Layout? No, we do it the other way around. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if you're just trying to confuse us out here.
As far as practicality goes, it can be useful when filling out forms to know which month it is before which day or year. Number 2, go bankrupt from healthcare. Medical costs are the cause of over 60% of all bankruptcies in the United States.
In 2017,
costs are the cause of over 60% of all bankruptcies in the United States.
In 2017, 1/3 of the money raised on GoFundMe went towards medical campaigns. And the site raises $650 million a year for more than 250,000 medical campaigns.
Americans experience a variety of unexpected charges while getting much needed care, from surprise bills to being charged for riding in an ambulance.
According to one study, 71% of all ambulance providers do not take the patient's insurance.
What? Why? If they have insurance, they don't take it. What the fridge, man? Yeah, but this is an old topic. We all know it's bad in the US with the medical care. It has a very big financial impact on you if you really need it. In Germany it's different. Like, we pay into the health insurance and then everything is covered. But that being said, as a self-employed person, we pay so much into that, so it's almost also the route of making us go bankrupt or something. And then if you don't use it, you still pay into it, you know. So it's really hard. It just comes down to how responsible are people with finances. And I think a lot of the Americans, or a lot of people in general, are not very responsible with finances. So I do still believe that a system like in Germany makes more sense, is healthier and better for the people, and also for your ease of mind, you know. You always have to balance, like, oh, do I really go to the doctor now? Maybe I have something serious, but if it's not, then it's money thrown out the window. It sounds really stressful to me to make these decisions unless you have just a lot of extra money, which also a lot of Americans do. Then maybe, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But yeah, let me know what you think about that. It's a very, very interesting topic.
That same study found that 79% of patients who took an ambulance could get a surprise bill, with an average total around $450.
In some parts of the civilized world, even seeing a medical bill can be an uncommon occurrence.
Yeah.
Healthcare worldwide tends to be much more regulated than it is in the US. It's either funded through taxes in a single-payer system or else through individual insurers who are more strictly monitored.
Other countries, they don't have this problem. Instead of every private insurance company negotiating with every healthcare provider, there's just this big list. Country, the central government, they go and they say, if you want to sell to us, to all of our people, then here's what you can charge for a checkup. Here's what you can charge for an MRI or a prescription for Lipitor.
Bottom line, while there can sometimes be extra charges, for most of the world, medical debt is basically unheard of, except in horror stories about the US.
Can't get a credit card. I can't buy a house. I don't see me ever being able to do it.
Number 1, use the imperial measurement system.
I just noticed it, mentioned it before.
How the country that can send men and hopefully women to the moon
all and beyond.
still are in gallons and inches. And when the entire world is metric, I do not understand this.
There are 3 countries in the world that don't use the metric system: Myanmar, Liberia, and the United States. Objectively, metric is the less arbitrary measurement system, since everything goes by tens. Even Britain and Commonwealth countries have converted.
The point is, the US system has always been a little more accessible than metric. Sure, stacking up 12 thumb widths to make a foot, that's still kind of weird, but it's not so weird that we're clamoring to change it.
Although admittedly, they do still use measurements like feet and inches casually.
It's also weird because you still use the metric system sometimes, you know. When you go on a run, you do a 5K run, right? A 10K run. If we talk about guns, ammunition, 9mm, 5.6 millimeter. That is the metric system. But then you are 6 foot tall, and it's very confusing. But it's kind of both there, right?
Oh, I can't ask a distance when I visit another country. I'm like, how far is that? They're like, that's 500 kilometers. I'm not in the Olympics.
So why is the US converted? We'll give you one guess. Did you say it's because of money? Because money is definitely a big factor. Converting to a whole new system of measurement is expensive. Other factors include a need for control and stability of the US. So inertia, basically. Why change when you don't need to?
Oh God, the fluid ounces and the pounds. Oh God.
Would the US do it too? Or something like that.
A 2015 Rasmussen poll asked Americans if we should switch to the metric system and adopt Celsius as our main temperature scale. 64% said no, while 21% said yes, and the remaining 15% was undecided. So it looks like we're perfectly fine with being different.
That was very interesting. A couple of these things were kind of expected, like the imperial system, the health insurance stuff, but some of them were also very interesting and new to me. And I think none of this is too serious to get upset about. So we don't have to go too political and hateful about these things, because every time we compare something about these cultures, I don't know, people get a little bit too heated. I think it's really fun to see these things, and let's just imagine the whole world would all be freaking similar. How boring would that be, right? Fun video to watch. I think maybe one of the better ones from Watch Mojo, but let me know what you think about this stuff, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.